What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are in St. Pete and we are going for stone crab. We're not fishing, we're going stone crab, and we got a little bit of time left to the season. These docks have been holding a lot of stone crabs from what he's telling me, and we're gonna get in the water and give you an underwater look at what these stone crabs do down there, and see if we can't get some dinner and do a cook and catch on some stones. What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are in St. Pete and we're doing something a little different today. Make sure y'all check out Stingray Alexander on Instagram, and we're doing something a little different with him today. We're actually going in the water today, and we are going for stone crab. We're not fishing, we're going stone crab, and we got a little bit of time left to the season. These docks have been holding a lot of stone crabs from what he's telling me, and we're gonna get in the water and give you an underwater look at what these stone crabs do down there, and see if we can't get some dinner and do a cook and catch on some stones. I've never had them. I've heard a ton about them. Looking forward to this one. We've been planning this one for a while, a week or so, but in April, it's really hard to get the visibility right in the water because these winds and all these late season cold fronts. But it looks like today, fingers crossed, we got those conditions. We got high tide in about 2 hours, and that's when we think it's gonna be the best. So we're taking you along, we're gonna get you ready, and we're gonna get you down in the water with us.
So Florida stone crab season is from October 15th to April 30th, 31st. May 1st to close. They close for this summer so they can breed. Always, you have to have a 2 7/8 gauge when measuring the bottom claw, and you can go check that out. They sell them at all sorts of different kinds of fishing stores, dive stores, whatnot. If you guys want to go trap for them, if you want to go dive for them, pretty much you're allowed 1 gallon per person, or 2 gallons if you're on a vessel. So you never want more than 2 gallons worth of crabs, then you're over your limit. To be honest, 1 gallon of claws is already a ton. That's about what we got today. So it's a lot of crabs. And the really cool thing with those crabs is just how they can keep regrowing. And that is why we have such appropriate bag limits to make sure we're not over harvesting a renewable resource. And that's how we start a dive trip, baby. Woo! Look at that boy. Big male.
I don't know if we're gonna get one bigger than that.
Woo! That's a good one.
Got me good. So we got our first crab.
Yeah, that is a good one to show off.
And it's a good one to start. Getting hungry already. Show you a little bit about these guys. Let him educate you a little bit. It's all new to me. I'm enjoying the experience, and I'm gonna let him educate you a little more on these things.
So this is a big jumbo male. Females right now, they kind of have like the swimmerettes there. Most of the females are gonna have eggs too. So most of the time right now, if you're gonna catch a crab, if it doesn't have eggs, it's a male. you look at those little lines on the claw right there, you can kind of see them right there. That means this is a first generation claw. If this claw had already been harvested, it wouldn't grow back like that. And so this is a pretty sizable male. I did catch one more, you'll see on camera, that was almost as big as this on the very first drop. It was just a big old pregnant female. So there's a reason this big male is around there. He's breeding with all those other females. But how I break them, I don't like how a lot of these, most people just rip works. I'm not a big fan of it. I think a lot of times the crab will just die later in the water. What I do is I take that thing, I poke it right in that soft spot right there, and I wiggle it around, you know, just like that, and the crab will naturally just drop the claw. Clean break, it drops the claw on its own. The crab's defense mechanism is that it can drop its own claw. So then I'll take this one, because in the state of Florida, you are allowed to harvest both claws if they are legal. It's not a one claw. Most time I would take one, but this is a really big one, so I'm gonna measure it, and I'll show you how to measure. This one's obviously legal. In the state of Florida, you have to have your gauge in your bag, or always with you at all times, just like lobster. So, it's here in the state of Florida. It is, you measure from the bottom of the claw to the tip of the lower part of the claw. They have to be 2 7/8 minimum. I always measure with a 3, because if I know it's 3 inches, it's 1/8 of an inch. Like, you don't, I just think that's so small that it doesn't really make that big of a difference. And I know if I measure to 3 inches, it's legal. So I'll take that 3-inch side right here. Now, if the bottom of the claw was inside of this or short of that 3 inches, it'd be short. But since it's way past it, I can legally harvest both claws and then put him back where he was.
One thing that he was telling me earlier today when we got out here is, yes, you can harvest both claws off of a female, but if you leave a pregnant female defenseless with no claws, the chances of a male killing her are pretty high. These fish are, these crabs are very aggressive, and their instinct is to kill each other. So you never really want to take a pregnant female, like he was telling you, he left her alone, and take her claws from her and leave her defenseless. If she's already dropped her eggs, different story. She, you know,
to clarify, you can't at all harvest a pregnant female's arms.
Oh, you
Completely
cannot.
illegal. You can harvest a female's arms, but I try not to, just because that most of the time we're just getting into the beginning of breeding season, so it's a very high chance that it might not be pregnant now, but it could become pregnant this season. So I really try to keep all those potentially pregnant females with their arms. If they do have eggs, you have to put them back, just like you'll see with the first big crab I caught on video. I put it right back. It's legal, that is the law. You cannot take any arms off a pregnant female.
Well, I'm glad I got that clarification. I'm glad you got it too. So pregnant females are off limits. What I was speaking of, what he told me about earlier, was females that could potentially get pregnant. So the females, during breeding season, he leaves alone, and the pregnant ones are completely off limits. You touch them, it's against the law in the state of Florida. So we're gonna go after these big males and see how many we can get. Like I said, I'm getting hungry already just for one. Can't wait to try these things, never had in my life. Excited about all this. It's completely new to me, a whole nother world to me that I will be doing a lot come next season. So see y'all back under the water. All right, guys, 2 things I want to share with you. One, I want to share what a pregnant female looks like. But before I share that, see that behind me? Anytime you're in the water, that has to be up. You have to have your dive flag up by law when divers in the water with snorkels and masks on or tanks. Now, let me show you what a pregnant female looks like.
So this is a female. As you saw with the male before, it kind of had that shape on its abdomen, and those are its eggs on its gills on the bottom right here. That's all future stone crab babies. Right now it's actually getting ready to molt, so I'm trying to be very delicate with her, just because she's at a very sensitive stuff, but also not trying to get pinched. But yeah, that's a pregnant female. You may not, even if it's a legal crab, harvest these claws. It needs to go right back where you found it so it can pump out those eggs, and we got crabs for the future.
So he's gonna get her right back to where she was, and we're gonna be going to look for some more male crabs. Like I said, always make sure you have your dive flag up. It is very important. It allows other boaters to know that you have somebody in the water and to keep an injury from happening. This stuff is a ton of fun to do. Like I said, I'll be doing it all next year. Lobster's fun too. We'll also be doing some of that, but you gotta do it in the safe, legal way.
Oh, it's got me there.
Nice. You in?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so he just came up with another crab, but this male is borderline. So we're gonna show you how we measure it, and this is a close one, so you can see exactly how this measuring works.
So you hand me that, you have that gauge? Should do. Let's go ahead and put it under that bottom piece, right there. You see how it's touching? That means it's good.
Yep, he barely fits. Y'all see that? He barely fits.
So he must have become legal in the last couple weeks. Kind of a small crab to have a legal claw, but again, we have another male. You see how it kind of has, like the female didn't have it, almost looks like a male private.
Yeah, it looks pretty clear.
It looks kind of like a male private part. And that's honestly one of the, look at the little purple indentations. Oh, I didn't notice that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll show you again how he breaks them off. Puts it in the one side, uses his own claw, and he releases that claw.
So sometimes it takes a little bit more convincing, but this is honestly the best way to go about this, just because I've seen so many people just break them and then they'll like look like they're fine. They'll walk for about an hour and just die. And the cool thing about these crabs, come on buddy, let go, is they're a renewable resource. We'll talk about that in a second. Sometimes it takes it there just like that. And then he was right here, so we'll go right back on the bottom and crawl into his home. We got another claw.
Yes, sir. Dude, it's amazing how much cleaner it is. Just as soon as that water came in, crystal clear. It's on the bottom, it's clear. I went down, I had 4 groupers shoot off, 2 huge sheephead. I got a claw. I broke it underwater. But
So when do you think the best time of the year out of the season is to go for stone crab, the most plentiful, good crabs out there?
so if I had to say the best time of year to go is going to be within the first 10 days of the season opener. That's even if the visibility is not quite fantastic at the beginning of October. The crabs are very plentiful. They haven't been messed with. All the commercial traps and traps haven't been pulled because they have the same opening day as recreational. The best time to go is opening day to about 10 days out. And then by then it's kind of picked through, kind of like lobstering. You gotta wait till about the middle of the year till we start getting the cold fronts and new crabs start walking in from offshore. And then late in the season, you start getting the best visibility of the whole year inshore. As you saw today, we had incredible visibility. You know, some docks I had over 20-foot of visibility. That's when it's really good, because you can start working areas that haven't been touched because they're just so dirty the whole season. So, but the best time to maximize the amount of claws and get them fast and get a lot of them that aren't breeders is first 10 days of October, from October 15th to October 25th.
What's the best strategy at grabbing one of these stone crabs? Should we use gloves, or how should we go about it?
So I highly recommend wearing a good pair of gloves. One of my tips is I liked wearing a little bit bigger gloves that are a little loose. So in the event you get pinched, you can slide your hand right out of that glove as it's just holding on to the extra flap because it's a bigger size. When I ask, people have asked me all the time, when you're learning how to grab these crabs, what do I do? The best thing is almost don't even think about it. And if you're gonna try to grab a claw, grab the bigger of the two claws. So if you're gonna get pinched, it's by the smaller one, because sometimes you can only just see one arm that they're digging. Sometimes you can dig them out. One of the best ways to get a hold of a crab easily is if you get your hand behind the crab. Because once you have your hand behind the crab, he can only reach his arms this far back, so he can't pinch you. And then once you have them out and about out of the hole, what I like to do is go like this in the water, almost like you spin them. They're not like blue crabs. They can't swim in the column, right? They walk on the ground. They can't swim. So when they're in the middle section of water, they can still swing with their arms, but they can't move. It's almost like they're in a trance. And you'll see in the video, I go like this on the crabs. That's a really good technique to grabbing them, is when you get them up in the column. Also, that visibility was kind of like, it wasn't as clean there, but still plenty clear.
At what temperatures or what criterias do you pick what mil wetsuit you're going to go out in?
So, in the beginning of the season, in October, the water can be between 75 to 80. There's some years I just dive in a normal t-shirt and shorts, like long sleeve performance shirt. Other years I wear just a thin 3 mil or thin suit. I like wearing a suit. I'm not like I'm younger where I just was like, oh, it doesn't matter, I hate wearing a wetsuit. Try to wear at least something thin in the beginning of the season, even if it's warm, because there's just so much stuff that can cut you up. You're talking rebar, pilings, oysters, so much stuff when you're digging these crabs out that you just want to be protected. Jellyfish, anemones, sea fans, like you just want to have your body protected because there's just so much that can hurt you while you're in that water. As you get towards winter time, like dead of winter, when we're talking cold water crab diving, I'm wearing a 5 mil and a hood. Always, always, always try to wear a hood if the water's cold, because if your head is not, your body can be warm, but if your head's not warm, you mentally are not able to get a breathe up because the whole time you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so cold. Wear a hood, it's worth it to keep your head warm. And then like today, we're late season right now, water's around 70 to 73. You could get away with just your normal 3 mil and hoodie, kind of like in the beginning of the season where around that water temp is starting to warm back up. You don't have to wear the bulky 5 mil. I know it gets to be a pain wearing that 5 mil because it's so buoyant and you have to wear a lot more weight, but I also hate being cold. There's nothing worse than being cold in the water. You can't get a breathe up. The whole time you want to get out, you can't focus. So I always like wearing a good wetsuit that covers all of my body, my arms and legs. This way I don't get cut up or stung by anything. Pulling these crabs out, I'm not getting hurt. And then I'm also staying warm.
That's perfect. All right, so I'm back at the house. It's a great day of stone crab. It's literally the same day. I'm still wearing the same hat. Switched my shirt out. And I cooked up these stone crabs. All I did was exactly what Stingray Alexander said, and he said just boil them up for 6 to 8 minutes in the salt water from the ocean. No season, they're fresh, caught a couple hours ago. I've never had one. I want to get everybody else's opinion too. Chrissy's had them before. Tristan, you ever had them? Mm-hmm. Tristan's never had them. He's like me. He's been living in Florida a lot longer than me though. And so she will get her opinion on how good they are and my first opinion on them. So I cracked open 3, as you can see. They're ready to go. Who's gonna be the first?
Me. You wanna go first?
Yeah.
I'll go first.
You can tell us how good they are of regular crabs. And all I did was melt down some butter. That's all I did. Now you see what your mom does? She got the whole thing. She went after it. She was hungry. There's a little blade inside of there. And all you do is pull it off the blade. Like with your teeth.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
Are they good?
Mm-hmm.
You can't usually pull the whole thing off in one bite.
So good.
What you think, Tristan? You like crab?
Yeah, that's good.
It's good? It's good? Alright, now I want to see what these things are all about. See if they beat our Louisiana blue crabs. That is pretty good. It's just like a Louisiana blue crab claw, but huge. absolutely huge. So we're gonna eat down the rest of these. Hope y'all enjoyed. Only a little more. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Did something a little different, had a lot of fun with it, and plan on doing a lot more with his name's Raymond, Ray. We call him Stingray Alexander because that's his Instagram. Check him out. Guy's a animal in the water, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I just watched some of the footage when we came home. Can't wait to see, so y'all see it all. You've already seen it by the time you've seen this part. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time.